Sawadika and welcome to Be My Guest, the program which brings you successful stories, entrepreneurs and organizations in both domestic and international arenas. I'm Sarosha Ratanapian. And hunger is a major concern in a worldwide community, and the problem has been directly addressed by Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO. So in this episode of the program, we learn more about the Zero Hunger Challenge in Asia and the Pacific countries, plus actions which can be taken in order to tackle the issue at the country and international level. And I am granted the opportunity with Dr. Suali, the Senior Policy Officer and also Delivery Manager of Initiative on Zero Hunger Project. Sawadika.
Sawadika.
So first of all, could you briefly introduce yourself to our fans of the program?
Okay, my name is Xuan Li. I'm Senior Policy Officer and also Delivery Manager for the Regional Initiative on Zero Hunger Challenge. And this is one of the major programs that FAO has launched in order to meet the challenge on hunger and all forms of malnutrition, which is one of the core business of the SDG 2 that FAO are taking lead.
Ah, okay. Talking about SDG 2, okay, it's quite a very unfamiliar term, and maybe for our fans that Be My Guest. So what SDG is?
SDG stands for the Sustainable Development Goals, and SDG 2 means eradicate hunger and all forms of the malnutrition and promote sustainable agriculture development.
Ah, okay, I see. Can you tell us briefly about sustainable agri-food systems concept here?
Okay, sustainable agri-food system is a food system that can ensure the food security and nutrition for all in such a way that economical, social, and environmental basis for the future generation will not be compromised. Meaning there is a trade-off between current generation and the future, but we need to manage this balance.
Okay, and what are the components here?
In general speaking, there are three components. The first part is on the production side. Second part is on the consumption side. And third part is on the value chain or marketing perspective. Yeah.
Okay.
And each and every perspective should have a different way of managing and to promote in order to form this three system in an integrated way.
So could you elaborate more on these three components?
Sure. On the production side, actually one of the very important part is on the agriculture basis, which is the agri-biodiversity. We have to preserve and also conserve and protect the basement for our human being. And in addition to that, we should have a lot of the technologies to understand what to grow and also how to grow, right? What to grow means we need to know what is smart way to integrate it, what kind of the crops or other foods in a different agroecological zone. How to grow meaning different types of technology that can save and grow, or put differently, can produce more with less. And in addition to that is we need to know how to manage the food losses. This is part of the production side. If you understand food loss and waste in general accounts for 1/3 of the total their food production. And if we could manage it better, it will be equivalent to increase of their production.
Okay.
Yeah. And the consumption side, it also have a lot of the different interventions. For instance, to have a better healthy diet, which meaning we have to get more nutrition awareness for the general public. And we also have other programs, for instance, like school feeding program or school day program, etc. And in addition to that, we should have different type of interventions, such as the Safe Food Initiative. So all this one will count for demand and supply. But then demand supply does not automatically function by itself. You need to link these two together. How to link together? You have to have a better, for instance, better marketing linkage or credit or other things.
Okay, so all in all, so there are three aspects here and three components that SDG 2 actually have to approach here. So we need to talk a bit more about the approach that you are taking here in this project. So what are the approaches you are undergoing?
Okay, let's just continue to talk about from production, consumption, and marketing perspective. Focusing on the production side, there are many different ways of intervention or interactions, right? For instance, what to produce. This is a matter of the structural issue. Whether we're smartly planned where an area has planted proper crops. This is one question we can think about, for instance. And we know that, for instance, rice is one of our major crops in the region. Meantime, rice is one of the crops which consume most kind of their input, especially on the water. And if you look at water stress in this region, it will be very kind of challenging for the long term. How to really smartly address this issue, especially when we do not have expanded land availability. So we can think about different ways of the intercropping or multiple cropping or related cropping, etc. But we need to have that integrated farming system in mind. Yeah, so farming system that can save and grow is one of the key issues. But beyond this concept itself, there are many practices. For instance, like conservation agriculture. For instance, like the cropping and livestock integration, such as rice and fish farming system, rice and duck farming system.
I see.
In Indonesia, you can see by farmer by integrating this approach, their income generated more, and also their input has been reduced. So that is precisely the way of you spend less, but you can produce more.
Ah, I see.
Right.
And what are the approach that you are taking in the marketing aspect here? Because you mentioned on the consumption side and also the production side already.
Yeah, on the marketing side, there was a lot of issues or obstacles actually prevent the whole market development. It needs to be value chain specific by the product, by the different product. But we need to understand what are the key areas or challenges. There is one of the survey done by the WTO and OECD, which indicate through the survey of the major companies globally, what do they observe the key barriers? Two has been considered the key problems. The number one is access to finance.
I see.
Number two is under poor infrastructure. And these are also the similar issues or challenges we are facing in our Asian Pacific region.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say these components are addressed in which areas, in this world here when you are talking about the, SAS projects?
In this specific project, in the Zero Hunger Challenge project, one of the major work we have been working together with our government and international partners are focusing on the future smart food. And this is the very interdisciplinary approach that we have introduced based on the agriculture, nutrition, ecology, and also socio-economic dimensions. So we brought together of international experts coming on board to assess, based on different ecological roles in the country, what are the available, the scoping, the availability of the possible cropping options. And then we assess the suitability of these potentials into the different farming system. Mostly it is a rice-based system, but we still have other different systems. So we need to, to assess this suitability. And then once we understand this one, we still need to understand what is climate vulnerability, and also to have the site specification. Where are the appropriate and how we can make it better.
Okay, so for now it's time for a short break. We'll be right back. We learn more about this project, which is called Zero Hunger Project here, and Dr. Xuan Li, okay, will explain a little bit more about this. But for now, see you in a bit. And welcome back to the program. You're watching Be My Guest with me, Sarosha Ratanapian, and I'm still with Dr. Xuan Li, okay, from FAO, okay, which is stands for Food and
Agriculture,
okay, organization, okay. Now, when we talk about zero hunger, so it's basically and generally an initiative. So could you tell me a bit about the concept, okay, of zero hunger?
Okay. Zero hunger, this is one of the core SDG goals out of the 17 SDGs that was agreed and also by all the member states in 2015. This is a target by 2030. Every member state will make efforts to achieve to end hunger and all forms of the malnutrition. Meaning, what does it mean, this all forms of malnutrition? It has two components. One is undernutrition, another is overnutrition. In terms of the undernutrition, there are a number of the key indicators. For instance, like the POU, which is the prevalence of undernourishment. There are also a few other indicators, for instance, like stunting, wasting, and underweight. This is basically to evaluate nutrition status of their population, especially for the children. There is also important part on the micronutrient deficiencies. People normally we call it hidden hunger. Yeah, and beyond this, we're talking about this overnutrition, that for instance like the obesity and overweight, and also micronutrient excess.
I see. Okay, so these are the concepts then, okay, that you are addressing right now and FAO is doing hard work on. Now, what are the areas or where are the areas that Zero Hunger initiatives, is touching on right now?
Okay, Zero Hunger Challenge, this regional initiative has been considered one of the big challenge led by our ADG, Kundavi Kadorisang, in the whole Asian Pacific. And what has been considered a core component, it composes a number of the area. One of the key part is to address nutrition-sensitive agriculture in combination of the climate-resilient agriculture.
Okay.
And the way of the promotion of the future smart food is one of the intervention to address this dual challenge together. So basically, it's trying to understand what are the considered most nutrition dense and also which is meantime can address the climate resilience or being climate smart food. And then we trying to find out each and every country where are this suitability of this future smart food in the country.
Okay.
And then we're trying to promote enabling environment to facilitate their integration into the current the cropping system.
Okay. In order to create the solutions or measures in order to tackle the hunger or malnutrition problems, so what are the basic problems that you are finding, the most really stressful in Asia region or in the Pacific region?
Okay. In our region, actually, we have already achieved a great progress in terms of the MDG, but still have a lot of challenges ahead. In terms of the undernourishment, while achieved this big progress by the reduction of the 50% of the undernourished people, we still have a lot of the countries suffering from the highest level of the stunting, wasting, and underweight. For instance, in the stunting issue, Laos PDR, Cambodia, Indonesia, Myanmar are still all the countries have this higher of a level of the stunting. The same thing for this wasting and underweight. And some other country like Philippines, they also have a different kind of the level on this wasting. And the same thing for the underweight as well. So these are the common challenge in our region that we need to address. And in terms of the micronutrient deficiencies, this has been mostly in the vitamins or minerals deficiencies in our region, in both countries, especially Laos PDR, Myanmar, and the Indonesia and others. These are still quite high prevalence. Yeah, and obesity and overweight, it is a growing phenomenon in our region as well. Especially we have observed the increasing rate in the last years. In addition to that, in the urban area, this become more prominent than before.
Oh, really?
That's right, including Thailand.
Ah, okay. Now, what about any specific problem for Thai people?
For Thai people, actually, one of the things we observed comparing to other countries is that you have more diversified food than others. However, probably if we could have adopt our king's philosophy on the self-sufficient economy in a more wide scale, and our people can be more mindful of what is the proper level of their consumption instead of the overconsumption. Because of your delicious food, of course, there is good attraction. But if we manage that level, you will also know what is the healthy diet, fitting for your own, different age group, and also at different kind of gender, etc. You will be better off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after the problems have been addressed in many, continents and also in many countries as well. So this brings about, which is what we call future smart food here. So could you explain a little bit more on future smart food offers, to citizens in different areas who are facing the problem?
Right. Okay. I would like to highlight one of the typical features of the food system in our region. This is one of the structural issues that we have to address in this kind of the dual challenge on the malnutrition and also climate change. When we talk about the malnutrition, one of the core business or one of the key cause of the malnutrition is because of the unhealthy diet, or put differently, not sufficient intake of the nutrition intake has been provided to the body. And in our region, typical issue is about lower dietary diversity. So this will contribute directly to the malnutrition. But we have to go a step further. Beyond this dietary is on the productory or production diversity. In our region, we have been quite dominant by rice-based system, right? So country like Laos PDR, which has a very high level of the stunting rate, it consumed almost, especially for the subsistence farmers, what they consume is what they produce. So if they can only provide majority of their 80% beyond of the farmers in Laos PDR, they only produce rice. So if they do not have additional income, what can they purchase? So they can only consume whatever they produce.
I see.
In the end, this becomes a disconnect of the malnutrition in the end to the upstream of this dietary diversity and to the even upstream of the production diversity. 3 points are disconnected. This is one thing that FAO has considered one of the key issues we have to address. So we call it, how we can address this one, we have to introduce or promote nutrition-sensitive agriculture. Put differently, we have to produce more of nutritious food from very beginning.
Okay, and this has been only one example of Laos PDR, okay,
That's right.
that you are presenting right now.
Yeah.
But for now, it's time for a short break again. We'll right back and we'll learn more on other different countries, okay, or different, projects that Zero Hunger Initiatives has been taking a role in. But for now, it's time for a short break. See you in a bit. And welcome back to the program. You're watching Be My Guest, and I'm still with Dr. Kae-Soon Lee, the Senior Policy Officer and also Delivery Manager of the Initiative on Zero Hunger. And in the second break, you mentioned Laos PDR, okay, which is a typical example of how, we should treat the problem of malnutrition. So is there any other problem, in other area that you want to exemplify?
Yeah, indeed. Actually, for our region, there are 2 major challenges we are facing right now. One is on the malnutrition, another is climate change. And we need to deal with 2 dual challenges together. And future smart food is designed to tackle these 2 issues together. And on the one hand, we're trying to promote more of the provision of the nutritious food. And on the other hand, we would like to have this future smart food can deal with and also have the trait to be resilient in the different drought or different kind of the climate change conditions. That's why we have brought different expertise from different the disciplines coming together to help countries to assess what is the case of the potential of this future smart food. And also in addition to that, not only identification of what it is and how we can really integrate it into the whole farming system. For instance, we need to have integration under technologies that save and grow, including the water management, soil management, and for instance, other different farming systems like agroforestry, conservation agriculture, or livestock, and also cropping integration as well, right? And then we will be able to generate more with less input. And meantime, the farmer will get benefit because they will spend less, but they can earn more. And that will rely on the government and decision maker to formulate this enabling environment where FAO has been always trying to support.
Okay, so can you give us some examples on different cases, okay, that you need to tackle in order to address the problem of the climate here, climate resilience?
Yeah, this is one of the challenge really there become a key part for agriculture sector. So on both sides there is adaptation, there is also mitigation, right? And for us, if we want to support our farmers on the ground, we need to really collaborate with the government and also different research partners and also the civil society and private sectors all together. But then in terms of intervention or support, we need to first understand what is a climate vulnerability assessment. So we have to do this assessment to understand where do we stand in order to project in the future where are the most vulnerable area and what exactly we can support. In addition to that, we need to have a very scientific analysis, such as remote sensing analysis, and then to identify based on the different soil, water, and other conditions, even infrastructure condition, energy condition, together to see what is the possible suitability. And based on all this, we can further down on the value chain to have different level of their technologies integrated into this production. And once it has been harvested, then post-harvest management will come into the picture. And then that is one of the major source of the food loss. And further down to consumption level become the Safe Food Initiative that FAO has been always promoting.
Okay, and any countries or any areas in Thailand have been undertaken in this initiative already?
Actually, the safety initiative is one of Thailand has been very active in this initiative, and FAO has been always there, they're working closely with the Thai government and also different stakeholders, even with the hotel and other, the major consumption that will take place all together. So it will be very useful and to create further awareness raising for the different consumers, not only for the Thailand, but also you have a lot of visitors coming from different countries. For them to be mindful, what are the future smart food and how we can consume better for our own, the health and also nutrition benefits.
Okay, and apart from the two major aspects here, which you mentioned, two components on nutrition and also the climate resilience, there is also a third aspect as well, okay, in this initiative. So could you explain a little bit more about this?
Yeah, indeed. What we also concern is trying to bring the income generation for the farmers, especially for the smallholder farmers. As we know in our region, the smallholder farmers has been the typical characteristic of our the farmers. We are not like the country with a big land with with a huge of the land the ownership for the farmers. So how we can really ensure these smallholder farmers gradually improve their livelihood and their income? We need to understand what kind of challenges they are suffering and what obstacles we need to deal with from the technical, from policy and institutional perspective. So only integrate this dimension into the whole, the three things together for the future smart food, it will not be considered smart for them. It will be painful for any people. For instance, like monoculture, this is one of the examples that our region has been suffering in the past, and also has created a lot of the negative environmental challenge also for the farmers, because whenever there is the price fluctuation in the world, the farmer will be the end sufferer this kind of the pen, right? However, if we have the more diversified production in the beginning, and also to be able to produce which has a good marketing potential, either domestically or internationally, then you can get better off. An example in the sufficient economy we observed in Thailand. This is the typical example that farmers are better off, and they can also bring better livelihood for their families as well.
Okay. So last but not least, the last question for our interview today is: so what all stakeholders can gain and obtain, from joining or participating? What are the benefits for them?
Okay. This zero hunger itself is one target that can be done only through the collaboration by all the different stakeholders, not only in the ministries of agriculture, but also different ministries along the whole value chain, but also the private sector, research partners, and also civil society along the entire value chain on the production, post-harvest management, processing, marketing, and consumption, including all the end users. So without this collective effort, we will not be able to achieve. And only we are combined all together, we'll be able to target this kind of the future challenge on the population growth, on this rising income, changing of the diet, and then we'll be able to see the bigger pie has been managed sustainably. They will get a good share out of the total.
Okay, and that has been a wrap-up, okay, a very good wrap-up here of today's session. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Soon Lee asserted at a big level of 3 key thematic components which are mentioned to achieve sustainable agri-food systems, which include the formulation of food security and nutrition strategy, the promotion of nutrition-sensitive agriculture, and a thorough data analysis of monitoring of SDG for decision-making. And that's all the time we have for Be My Guest this week. And thank you very much for watching us and tuning in. For more information, you can log on to thainews.prd.go.th/en. And I'm Sarosha Ratanapian. สวัสดีค่ะ